Coach, could you give a status update on Amos and Braylan? We didn't see him coming out and then leaving today. Elijah Paige looked a little banged up. Do you have an update on him?
Yeah, Elijah's fine. Practice whole day. Just got a lot of work today. Braylan, Amos, all good. Nothing long term. Just out for the day. But yeah, we've been so far so good. Pretty lucky. The only major injury is Maliki Crawford had a season-ending injury a couple of days ago and got that fixed. So obviously hate that for him. But we'll get him rehab, get him fixed up, and get him back obviously next season. Everybody else, some normal bumps and bruises at camp, but we've been pretty fortunate other than Maliki's injury.
So nothing long-term with Elijah?
Yeah.
Lincoln, you've been pretty adamant during the recruiting process when recruiting quarterbacks. Once you have one committed, that's it. What would lead you to recruiting two in the same class?
And I don't ever want to say never, but it's highly, highly unlikely this day and age, especially the fact that if you need, if you got in a situation where you just didn't have enough guys, would you look at it? Maybe the more likely scenario in this day and age, and more common, is you might take a high school guy and possibly look at somebody in the portal, to add to it. I just have never believed in trying to stack guys up that are the same age. So that's not saying never. There's always a possibility, but it's not something that I believe in.
Lincoln, you talked last year about in-helmet communication and how it might help. You've had it now since the spring. What have you thought, just in general, about it? What, now that you have it, can you sense, what kind of changes it might entail?
Yeah, we've really experimented a lot with it, just using it in different ways, and how can we, making an advantage on both sides of the ball. I've enjoyed it. It's definitely been something to get used to when you've called offensive or defensive plays for a long time, without it. It's an adjustment. So nice that we were able to work it a little bit there in spring, and then obviously, a bunch here. So yeah, we're starting, I think, to settle in on what role it'll have for us on both sides of the ball. Obviously what players you're going to use, how much communication. There's obviously a lot of strategy to it, and so it's been fun test driving it. We went in thinking we might use it a couple ways, and we were right about some of the ways, and then we've certainly made some adjustments along the way to try to make it more efficient. But it's part of the game now, right? And you got to find the way that's going to help make your team and your program better, and that may not necessarily be the same for every team, just like schemes or anything else. So that'll be just another kind of fun thing to watch how it unfolds, and another way that we're hoping to find competitive advantages.
What sort of adjustments did you make as you were kind of working with it?
Well, I think you're always working through, what exactly, what purpose is it going to serve, right? And there's a lot of different, are you calling, are you making calls that way? Are you just communicating with the guys that way? Obviously the play clock is a major factor in timing and how the game plays out. It's going to be different every single week. And so we've tried to just simulate those different situations for us, how we would use it. We've had a chance to talk to people that have used it a lot and been able to get a little bit of feedback there. And some of it, honestly, is a little bit, to me, almost, like asking about a play. Some of it, I'm trying to give you something, but it's also, there's a kind of a competitive piece to it, right? And I think everybody's going to have that on terms of, how you use it. And it's one of those things that's not kind of out there. It's not like people can necessarily hear what you're saying or obviously exactly how you're using it. So there'll be some cat and mouse with it, which will be fun.
Lincoln, have you given any thought to potential increase in scholarship limits and roster limits, and potentially what you guys would do in terms of adding more scholarships or partial scholarships? Any thoughts on that?
We've had Jen and I have had a lot of discussions. Jen, Jay Hilbrand, our other administration, about what that would look like. Obviously, we're starting to get a little bit more clarity on what that is. We don't have complete clarity on. We know kind of generally what it's going to look like, but there's some really key things that we don't know yet that would maybe cause you from firmly making a decision. But we've got kind of a base philosophy in our mind of how we're going to attack it, and it'll be a little bit different for each school, and then obviously we'll see how much those numbers count against caps and what caps are, and there's a lot to it. It's not just as simple as, well, there's a salary cap and there's this many scholarships and go. So but yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting piece. Another piece, there's going to be a lot of strategy behind, especially in the beginning, because it's not like the NFL. You can't really compare that to really anything else. You know what I mean? I don't know that there's really a precedent in any sport that I'm aware of that is really set up that way. And so because of that, there's going to be like a whole lot of new strategies, and whoever can have the best strategy in the beginning will certainly have an advantage. And then I'm sure, like anything, people will study it as time goes on, and you'll see it probably start to narrow.
Might partial scholarships be in play for you guys?
For sure,
That's something to
100%,
talk about, yeah.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Especially here, they will be. It'll be interesting of how much counts, because we've got one of the best expensive educations in the country, and also one of the best, but one of the most expensive as well. And so, I mean, the only fair thing, and you hope they get there, is, I mean, a scholarship at one school ought to count exactly the same against the cap as a scholarship at another school. And if they do that, I mean, all these steps and all that we're taking is for equity, and if we do that, we're going the complete opposite direction.
We don't talk as much about the kicker competition. How do you see that? And what was the evaluation you made after last season that you wanted to bring in some more guys there?
Yeah, we didn't perform well enough. I mean, just as simple as that. I mean, we missed some kicks that we need to make. We were not good in the kickoff department. I mean, honestly, our 10 guys on kickoff team last year did a hell of a job, considering how few touchbacks that we had. And so, yeah, neither one was good enough to play at the level that we expect to play. And so we did. We brought in some competition. We're looking at a lot of guys right now. We're doing more field goal snaps. We found some new ways to be efficient. We're doing more of those in practice than we've ever done in our career, because we've got several guys that we want to get a good look at early on here at camp, and then we're going to start narrowing that down pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, the new guys that we've got in, obviously Lance, Ryan, a couple of those guys are kicking really well. Some of the guys that are returning, Dennis, Tyler, Garson, those guys have really, really improved. I mean, our numbers in the first part of camp, I get it's practice, but we're as good as Coach Doherty and I have ever had in all the years, any places that we've been, in terms of percentage. So that it's raised the competition in that room, and we'll have some tough decisions to make. But yeah, that was obviously done knowing that that part in particular we have to be better at, because we did so many good things on special teams last year. I mean, our punt return, our punt team last year were good enough to be a national championship team. I mean, they're national championship-like numbers, all right? But we know we got to be better in kickoff return, and then the whole kickoff, field goals, all that piece of it have been a big focus for us.
You see that competition as wide open with this one?
Yeah, we did. We started it wide open, but it's one of those, like, you only got so many live kicks. And so it is wide open, but we have to make decisions quickly, and we got to start to narrow it, which we're getting pretty close to that point where we'll narrow it down.
Thank you, Coach Riley.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.